Hi, welcome back to Helenosaurix X. My username's kind of hard to pronounce. I don't even know why I chose it. A few weeks ago, I went to a thrift store and I found this gorgeous powder blue 1950s gown, and it was $15. And I was like absolutely thrilled. I had to have it and I bought it. And I also had a coupon, so technically it was like $5, which is kind of crazy. But I got it home and I realized that it wasn't in the greatest condition. It was an okay condition, but not the best, which is probably why it wasn't that much. I'll insert clips, but you can see that it had some either grime, dirt. It did have all its, well, most of its beads, which is surprising, but quite a few of them were kind of falling off. And it wasn't like the worst smell, but it was a little musty, crusty. You could tell that it was sitting like in a basement for a while. But I knew that I could repair it. But I've never done anything to a vintage gown before, and I was quite nervous, so I thought I would document it. Maybe share it with some people and see what I did right and what I probably mostly did wrong. So, let's see. First thing I did was reattach the beads. I would say this was the most nerve-wracking part, but honestly, all of this was very nerve-wracking. I didn't know what I was doing, so I just reattached it. I learned a little bit of beadworking when I did my art degree in university, but I didn't quite know what I was doing. I didn't know how they had done it originally. However, there is no lining in the bodice, I found out. So I was able to go in the back and see all of the beadwork, like the original stitching, and it's just, like, it blew my mind. It's so intricate. It would have taken hours to do. It's fantastic. It was just, wow. The craftsmanship to make this dress was crazy. Don't know what the correct method is. I think normally maybe people will cut the original string or thread and then redo it. I didn't want to do that to lose the placement, so I just reattached it with the old thread still in there. I did have a little bit of issues because I couldn't find the right needle. I had beading needles at home. I couldn't find them, so I tried my thinnest normal needle. Didn't work. Found my beading needles. But still, some of the beads were so tiny, I ended up having to go to Walmart and find another needle. It's just, again, the craftsmanship was really showing itself. It was impressive. The reason why I wanted to attach it first rather than wash it first is because I did not want to be having it either when it's soaking or when I was rinsing it with water for any of the beads to pop off, go down the drain, lost forever. So now came from washing time, and I scrubbed my tub for 10 minutes straight. I just went in there just with simple Dawn dish soap because I didn't want to use any chemicals in case it didn't rinse out correctly and it got on the dress. I was very nervous, and so I just used Dawn dish soap and I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed that tub. And just, I wanted to get every little, because I have, my hair has dye in it. I was like, oh my god, what if there's hair dye in the tub, or there's some type of dye in the tub for I don't know what reason, and it gets on the dress and then I can't get it out and I ruined it. So did that, rinsed it off really, really well. And then it came time for the first soak. And that was, I did not want to do that. There was a very fear-inducing thing. Okay, so now I need to soak this in water. As I turned on the tub and I started the water, I did it lukewarm and I just added OxiClean and my normal laundry detergent. Both of them are no dye, no fragrance, have very sensitive skin. So it worked very well for, I think, vintage. Put just a little bit of that in and mixed it around, laid the dress in, and I let it soak for about an hour. I think this is where my first mistake came in. Put it in the tub, did my thing, walked away. I came back just to check on it about 30 minutes later, and what I thought wasn't a bad smelling dress, it turned pungent. Like, it was pungent in the bathroom. It smelled horrible, unfortunately. Like, just very, very musty, crusty, old basement or attic smelling. I like turned on the fan, opened up the window. The best part, or the best method, would be to do like an initial like soak, but only have it soak for a few minutes just to remove like that initial bad smell and then get that done with. But it was 30 minutes in, and I was like, well, we're already here, so better. So I let it go for 20 more minutes. I should have just rinsed it at that point. It shouldn't have been soaking in that water, but I wasn't a good idea. After that, like hour-ish was up, drained the tub. I just turned on the shower itself and just let the water rinse through the dress. Honestly, surprisingly, there wasn't much dirt necessarily. There was just like a little bit here and there, but it's pretty clean besides the smell. So then it kind of was like a rinse and repeat process. Second time, I did do a little bit different, I should say. The water was more warm. It wasn't like boiling hot or even like that hot. It was just more warm. And I had way more OxiClean and way more laundry detergent. I just don't think I had enough, and it got really frothy and nice. And I kind of like, I didn't want to ruin the fabric, but I did like just do this on it. Like pushed it down and kind of was like pushing the bubbles, and I don't think it did anything, but I did it. Again, let that sit for an hour. The smell was completely different. Very, very faint smell, if any. So that's great. So, rinsed it, washed it, all good to go, right? I was like, well, what if I did it a third time? I don't think it needed it, but I did it a third time just in case it needed it. Very much a similar process to process 2 and 1. A lot of OxiClean, a lot of laundry detergent, soaked it. I think for an hour. I did kind of get busy, so it might have been more than an hour. I was like, no, it's clean. It's clean. I rinsed it well, like it was clean. It had virtually no smell. The color had changed. I forgot to mention that, but the color had changed. Even with the second wash, I didn't realize how light the dress was. It was just, the color vibrancy like emerged, and it was beautiful and it was gorgeous. I did one final bath. In this part, I'm a little confused on because I don't know the correct order. I was kind of basing my like knowledge off of like an Instagram person that I like who does like vintage stuff, where she washes her stuff first, like OxiClean and whatnot, and then does a vinegar bath as like the last step. I don't know the pros and cons of washing first and then vinegar deodorizing versus deodorizing first and then washing. I'm assuming it's because you want to try to get out all the grime first, any like the dirt, sweat, what have you, any stains first, and then do a deodorizing process after all of that. I could be wrong. Please let me know if I am. But this one, it didn't take very long. I just filled up the tub again with warm water, put in about a cup of vinegar, and that only sat for about 10 minutes. I didn't do that for very long. I just kind of wanted to get rid of any lingering smells. Rinse that. This rinse I don't have any footage of because I think it's kind of boring to just watch water fall over a dress over and over again. But I turned on the shower head and I rinsed it for about 5 minutes. I know that's kind of wasteful for water, but I really wanted to make sure all the suds were out, all the vinegar was rinsed out, and the dress was like completely clean. After that, folded it up in a towel, waddled myself outside with a soaking wet dress. Luckily, I took out my pool rack, which is where like we hang our like pool clothes and towels to dry in the sun. That was outside. I had a rack outside to put down the dress. I just like gently lobbed it over and like spread it out nice so that way it could dry pretty evenly, nothing major. And then it was dry. So I guess now it's time to show the results.